I was muted that whole time. I'm going to start over. Welcome to Talking Points Ask Me Anything Live. We are here every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube Live, and you can join us to talk about everything family engagement, everything Talking Points. You can ask your questions, whether that's about family engagement or about using your Talking Points account. I am in the back to school mode, as you can see, and I am very excited to help teachers get started on their Talking Points accounts, answer any questions that they may have, and just get you started on the right foot with the brand new school year. And that being said, our topic today very simply is about welcoming families back to school. So I don't have a big presentation today. I don't have a big deck. We're just going to talk about features within the Talking Points account that are great for getting started, great for welcoming families back, and then some good strategies for like having a positive start back and starting those relationships off positively so that the rest of your year with building relationships with families can be positive, and that your family engagement can be a great strategy to help you meet all of the goals that you set throughout the year for student academics, attendance, behavior, well-being, whatever that may be. So I'm here to help you do that. We're basically going to be looking into a Talking Points account the whole time. So I'll be sharing my screen. And at any point, if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, whether it's already in your head or it comes up throughout, just throw it in the chat, in the comments, and I will jump in there and try to answer them as they come in or during our FAQ in a little bit. So let's dive right in. Going to share my screen, my Talking Points account. Perfect. All right, so this is what the Talking Points for Teachers account looks like. It may look a little different than yours if you are using the free app, but most of the features I'm going to talk about today are available for all teachers using Talking Points. I may talk about a couple that are specifically for teachers who have it paid for by their school or district, but I'll let you know if that's one of the features. So when I'm talking this fast, I've got to have water. But here we go. The first thing I want to share with you as far as getting started with Talking Points for the beginning of the school year is down in the left-hand corner, and I'm on the web. You can do these things on your mobile device as well, but sometimes getting started and kind of exploring it is a little bit easier on the web for me because it's so big and just right there. So I'm going to click down by where my name is and go to Settings. A couple of the things that I think you should always do first with any kind of account that you set up, but particularly with your Talking Points account, is add in a profile picture and your display name so that any families that are using the Talking Points app, and even the ones that are receiving messages via text message, they'll see your display name. And we encourage you to put in whatever families and students know you as. So I put Mrs. Delosier. Sometimes I'll put Mrs. D because that's what my kids always called me and families called me. Put in whatever your colloquial name is that families and students know you so that it can be that conversation that you have. And then second language is another field that a lot of educators don't realize we have in here. If there is a language that you speak fluently other than English that you'd rather bypass translation in conversations with, and you just want to have authentic typing in that conversation, or sorry, in that language conversations with families, go ahead and put that in here. I'm very mildly fluent in French, so I'll put that in there and sometimes have those conversations with families in French and then save. It won't go through translation if that family speaks that language as well. Otherwise, all your messages will go through translation if it's another language. If you don't add a second language, it won't worry about that. Everything will go through translation. So those are some of the first things that I recommend, especially at the beginning of the school year. Update your photo, your name, just kind of getting started. Then another thing that I highly recommend you do, because it is the beginning of the school year, keep clicking on the wrong screen, is to send out an announcement introducing yourself to families. Now, when you first add them to your class, there will be an introductory message that's sent automatically through the app that's like, this is the Talking Points account from Mrs. Delosier. This is how we're going to be communicating, blah, blah, blah. But it's a lot more personal if you kind of edit it yourself, or if you create one yourself. You could even save a template. I believe we have some in here saved as templates, so you could view some of those. They might be in logistics or in positive. Oh, I'm so happy to have your student in my class this year. Let me know at any time if they need any extra support. That's a great introductory message to send to families at the beginning of the year. That way they know that the door is open to talk about anything that they need from you, anything that they need to let you know, that this is an open channel of communication. They don't need to call, they don't need to email, they can just shoot you a text. And it comes a little more personally after the initial text of like, this is Talking Points. So highly recommend sending kind of an announcement to everyone, letting you know, letting them know who you are. You could even add in some personal details like, my favorite color is purple, or whatever you would like to tell them about yourself. Another thing to know, especially if this is your first time using Talking Points, I know that watching this video or joining us at the beginning of the school year, we have a lot of teachers who have been using it for years and a lot who are joining for the first time. You may not know the difference between announcements and direct messages on Talking Points. I just want to go over that very quickly. Is that when you click new messages, you'll have the option for class announcements or a direct message. When you send a class announcement, your options are full classes, full groups of families. So you're making a class-wide announcement or sending to your whole club that you have or your reading group, something like that. And it'll go to all the families in that group or that class. When you are, or all your families, you could click all of them at once. For a direct message, your recipients are specific students or specific families. So you could send to multiple of them, but you're selecting them individually. That's the difference between them. Now, it's important to remember that even when you send an announcement, it does go to every family individually, and it's translated into their individual language. And they only see the one-on-one conversation between you. It's just for you to know, I sent this to everyone, or I sent this to an entire group, versus I'm just sending this to specific families. So that's a good reminder for the beginning of the school year. Now I have this one resource I would like to share in the chat. I'm going to put it in the comments now. It's a resource. It's got a couple different versions, one for teachers, one for administrators, that has several pre-written poll questions and answers, as well as some open-ended questions that you can copy and paste into your Talking Points account to get the conversation going with your families, as well as like learning about the students, learning about the families, so you can begin those relationships. For example, and I'll go ahead and show this resource so you can see what it looks like and what kind of poll questions we recommend at the beginning. Let's see. It's loading. Polls are a great way to ask a question of your whole group and start getting answers immediately. And these can be get to know you questions about the family at the beginning of the school year. Later, they can be, are you going to attend this event that we're holding? Any questions like that you can get answers to quickly rather than waiting for papers to come back in backpacks is just so much easier. Here we go. So let me share this screen. Here we go. So this resource that I just put in the chat is a great list of examples, and you can just copy and paste them into your Talking Points account, create a message, copy the question into the poll and the answers into the options. For example, what would you like me to communicate with you about? How does your student learn best? Would you be willing to volunteer in my classroom? These are great polls, like maybe the first week or couple weeks of school, send a question every few days so that you can be getting that information and following up with the people who respond yes, following up with the people who respond with certain answers so that you can be keeping that information. And I guarantee if you're communicating with families this way about this beginning of the year information, you are going to have so much more detailed information than all of your teammates who are sending home packet after packet after packet to be filled out and returned. And we don't want that either. So share talking points with your teammates. And then there are some open-ended questions as well that you can simply copy and paste into an announcement or a direct message and send it along, and they can type their answer. So those are some really good ones that we put some thought into, and there's a version for teachers to use and a version for administrators to use. So if you are an admin with talking points, take a look at that as well. And lastly, I want to share one more thing about your beginning of the year talking points account. So like I said at the beginning, this is kind of what the dashboard looks like for a teacher in a school or district account. So there are a couple bells and whistles here that you may not see if you're in the free account, and we can switch over in a moment, but you'll have similar things. All teachers do have the last 30 days activity, how many messages were sent, how many announcements were sent, this up here at the top. I don't know if you can see my clicker, where it says activity in August, you'll be able to see that. And you do have an analytics dashboard here on the left-hand side that you can click into. So make sure you're using that to help track how many families you've communicated with, make sure nobody's getting left out, make sure all phone numbers are valid, that sort of thing. And then the one underneath it that says families that haven't received a DM, families that haven't responded, that's an additional analytic that our school and district paid partners have for teachers to dig a little deeper. And it'll show you when you click see list, it'll show you those exact families so you can immediately reach out. And then this green box up here, this is a fun addition we've included this school year. That is our best practice tip of the week. So we are using the research that we constantly talk about, or I talk about all the time on these streams, family engagement research and family engagement best practices. We want to share those with you so that you don't have to be searching all around or hoping that your school district is providing family engagement PD. We're trying to put it in here for you. So every week when you log into Talking Points, you should see a new best practice tip. And if it's one that inspires you to send a message to a certain family or to all your families, that's great. That's exciting. So for example, this one says, discover your students' superpowers, asking about their interests, build stronger relationships, and make learning more engaging. To me, that's kind of what we were just talking about. That's a great one for the beginning of the school year, getting to know them, asking families to kind of share their insight and their expertise about their students. So all you would do is click send a message, and we've pre-written some messages that fit that best practice tip, and you can edit it, you can adjust it, or you can send it as is, and you choose who all that message is going to go to. So trying to add in more and more options to use those best practices in action in Talking Points as often as possible. So those are some good ways to get started at the beginning of the school year with Talking Points. And now it's time for some questions. If you are with us live, please throw questions into the comments. I love to see questions come at me live. Never know where they're going to come from, but I love to answer them. I've been with Talking Points for 4 years. I like a challenge. And I also have questions coming to me from our friends in customer support. So they get questions every single day and they let me know what is top of mind for all of our users. So I'll go ahead and pull some questions from there. And then if you have questions, let me know. We had some folks asking in the free Talking Points for Teachers account just about walking through how to add students manually. So I'm going to log out of this account and log back into my free account so that we can look at that real quick. Here we go. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, I have not logged into this one in a while, so it looks a little bare, but same as always. It's a brand new school year. You might have a new account. You might have one that is refreshed for the new year, and you are needing to add your students. So the first place you're going to go is classes on the left-hand corner. I wish you could see my mouse, but unfortunately you cannot. So classes is going to take you to this new page where your classes are listed and categorized. You may not have classes. You may have some from last year. You can create a new one, totally up to you. I am going to add a new class for this year. Let's say school year 24-25 AMA, because that's what we're doing. We're doing Ask Me Anything, and second grade was my favorite to teach, so that's what I'm going to choose. So I've created my class, but there are no students in them, or in this class. So that is my next step, and there are going to be a few different options for me to add these students. So here we go. It walks you very clearly through what those options are, but there are a few, so I want to show you what they are. We do recommend for the Talking Points for free for teachers account, we recommend you adding students yourself simply because it takes all of the pressure off of the families to learn something new on an app or figure out a code or anything like that. It takes all the barriers to entering the app away from them, and all they have to do is receive a message. That's all they have to do. However, if you are sure that your families can easily join with the class code or they can join via text message and you just want to print the letter and give it to them, we have that option as well. So lots of ways that you can make this happen. So one thing you can do, I'll start with this second option actually right here that has, it says add existing students from other classes with the purple and orange people. There will be kids from your other classes that exist from last year or classes you've already built. You can select those students. Say you have all your academic classes set up and you need to create a club. This is maybe when that would work out. Then another way to do it is to add or import new students and contacts. This is the way that I always choose to do it. It's this first option here. And within this option, there are two ways to do it. So if you have very few students, maybe it's just one class of 25 or something like that, you can just manually type in all the information: student name, contact name, relationship, language, and phone number, and it shows you which of these fields is required. You do have to have a cell phone number for every contact in order for them to be uploaded, and their home language does have to be entered. If you're not sure what their home language will be yet, we recommend just putting English so that they are in there. And then once you've communicated with the family in person and found out what language they prefer, you can go back in and change that. So what I will do is put the student's name. If I know the contact name, I know this is her mother. They speak English. And I'm going to fake it for now. You add it. It may take a moment to load. And then there's your student. You will probably add many more, but that is the way that you can do it manually if you just have a few and it's easy to type. If you have closer to the maximum for the free account, which is 200 students, you probably don't want to type all of those 200 students in, each with their 5 contacts. That's a lot to do. So you'll still go to this first option, but we have created an Excel sheet, a Google sheet that fills out all of these fields right here. And you can first complete that spreadsheet and then copy and paste it into these form fields so that it's much simpler to do. It is a bit of manual work at the beginning, but after everybody's in, this is the only time you have to do this. So then those are the 2 ways that you can enter students yourself. Then you have the option to invite families. You can give them a class code, which is unique to your class. You will have a different code for each class. You can give that to them in your, like at open house or something like that. You can give them a code to text if they're going to use text message instead of the mobile app. And we have translated invitation messages for families as well. These are PDFs you can download. They say your class name, they say your individualized class code, and they are in all of these languages here. So you have a lot of resources here when you go to click Add Students. So hopefully that's helpful to anybody who is beginning their school year out and needs to add students to their account. I'm going to take a sip of water, and if you have additional questions, please throw them into the chat for me. Thanks for the like, Rose. Appreciate it. All right. Before I answer my next question, I'm going to go ahead and share the challenge for this week because it is the beginning of the school year. Happy back to school. Right on. My jokes are bad. I'm going to challenge you to send a beginning of the year poll to inform your classroom practices. Our polls are a lot of teachers' favorite feature because it takes away all that pressure to put things in backpacks that disappear and to get answers so much faster to important questions. And like we looked at that resource earlier that has get to know you questions that are pretty deep, getting expertise from families like how does your kid learn? Are they a kinesthetic learner? Are they a visual learner? And figuring out which families know their kids really deeply and getting that information from them rather than weeks of observing kids to figure that out. Families are an amazing resource. And so beginning the year with a couple polls to ask those questions and show families that you want their expertise and that you respect their knowledge about their kid, I think is a great way to start the year off. So that's your challenge, is to send a beginning of the year poll that you'll use to inform your classroom practices. I think that would be awesome. You can use that resource that I put in the chat to inspire those polls, or you can come up with your own. And just a reminder on how to do that. Here is where you click new message. A poll will need to be an announcement because you don't poll one person, you poll a lot of people. You'll select which class you want to do. I'll do all my students. And the poll option is this little graph down here. It looks like a poll. You can, here, I'm going to copy and paste one of the questions from this document that we had. Let's see. Since I keep talking about this one, I'll do this. How does your student learn best? My copy and paste is being weird, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, perfect. And then it was seeing something being done. And you just add each option. You can add multiple. Even if you're using one of our suggested polls, add additional options if you want to. There's not a rule to any of it. It's totally up to you. Hearing an explanation. You understand how this works. You could even add some color to it. Make it a pretty one. Trying something for themselves or reading. And I want you to see how it shows up. So let's see on your home page. So there you'll see the actual poll, and as responses start to come in, I'm not sure who's in my account or if anybody is, so I mean I get responses, but when you send that poll and start to get responses, you'll be able to click in to see the details of who responded for each. I didn't even check my spelling. You'll see responses for each one and the percentage of responses for each one. It's a great breakdown. And then you can respond to people, so you can make a group of your kids who like to see something being done, a group of your kids who like to hear things being done. This would be a great question for building small groups, actually. My teacher brain is running now. So yeah, that kind of poll, great for the beginning of the year. Let's switch back into question time. I have about 4 minutes left. So if you have any additional questions, now's your chance. But also, I am personally the one that watches our social media throughout the week. So if you think of something and it's not Thursday, that's fine. Just comment on anything and ask us the question, and I will find the answer for you, or I'll answer it on a Thursday live stream. That is a great question. Thank you for asking that. On for teachers who are on the paid school and district accounts, you do not have the option for codes. We talked about this last week, and it has been a question that a lot of teachers have had. So you do not have the option for codes. Your school or district administrators, whoever are the administrators in your account, will need to add your contacts for you. Couple more minutes for questions, if anybody has them. And if not, I will see you next Thursday. But don't forget that tomorrow we are picking our 4th winner for Clear the List. And next Friday, we are picking our last winner for Clear the List. So it is not too late for you to enter to win $500 for your classroom to clear your Amazon wish list. And if you have not done that yet, let me drop the link for you. Let's see. I will grab that right now before we sign off, because nobody wants to miss a chance to win $500. Let me grab the link. All right. And in the chat is the link to enter to win Talking Points Clear the List 2024. All right. It has been wonderful to be with you once again, and I will see you next Thursday as we talk about, let me see, we have a schedule, family engagement and attendance. So next week, we're going to talk about how family engagement can affect and have a positive impact on student attendance. So don't miss out, and have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.